Yu Nation. Changyang Prefecture, Qinghe City. Little Su, wake up. It's time to work. Su Jingxing, who was groggy from sleep, heard the call. Rubbing his eyes, he sat up and looked at the big-faced young man beside the bed. Already, he answered subconsciously. Yes, there's 15 minutes before our shift starts. Hurry up and go freshen up, said the big-faced young man. With that said, he gave a funny look and smiled oddly. Speaking of which, who's Wanrong? Even in your dreams, you were calling out her name. She must be quite the looker, huh? You were hearing things, said Su Jingxing, yawning as he got out of bed. You can continue talking nonsense while I'll go wash up. Huh, getting shy. Looking pleased, the big-faced youth continued his teasing. There's nothing to be shy about. I've been there before, the age where you start feeling things towards girls. It's normal to fall for pretty girls. There's no need to feel embarrassed about it, heh. Su Jingxing ignored him. He put on his clothes and walked into the bathroom. As he peed, he sighed faintly. How he wished it was a pretty girl. Unfortunately, Wanrong. Or rather, it was Wanrong. Not only was Wanrong not a girl, he was his enemy. Well, to be precise, the enemy of the original Su Jingxing. That's right, Su Jingxing had transmigrated. His soul had traveled from Earth to a planet known as Earth Star, and occupied the body of Su Jingxing, who had just died. Earth Star had its own technology, but unlike Earth, martial arts was everything here. Powerful martial artists could single-handedly split mountains and part rivers, or even annihilate cities and nations. Of course, this had nothing to do with the original Su Jingxing. The original Su Jingxing was just an orphan who grew up in an orphanage. 3 months ago, he turned 15, the age required to leave the orphanage, and left for the streets to make a living through manual labor. His goal was to rent a place of his own, a small house he could call home. The original Su Jingxing lived frugally and worked hard. As a result of overexhaustion, he once fainted on the street while returning from work. Fortunately, the owner of a small grocery store, Boss Wang, saved him in time. Boss Wang was a good man. After learning about the original Su Jingxing situation, he introduced him to a crematorium where few people were willing to stay. There, he was offered the job of a corpse collector, and began moving corpses around all day long. Although the job required him to deal with corpses, it provided food and accommodation, as well as a monthly salary of 1,000 great $. The original Su Jingxing was very satisfied. 3 days ago, after receiving his first month's pay, he excitedly bought a bunch of delicious food on the way back as a present for Boss Wang. When he reached Boss Wang's store, he discovered to his surprise that a new owner had taken over. He inquired about the previous owner's whereabouts, and learned that Boss Wang had been killed. Not only was Boss Wang killed, but his wife and daughter as well. The one who murdered them was a martial artist named Wanrong. The original Su Jingxing was taken aback. When he got back to the crematorium, he was in a stupor. As a result, while he was moving a corpse up the stairs, he missed his footing and fell. Death came swiftly when his head hit the ground, and that was when Su Jingxing transmigrated into his body and assumed control. Even though he died, his obsession did not dissipate. Kill Wanrong and avenge Boss Wang. That was the obsession of the original Su Jingxing. A favor of a drop of water ought to be repaid with a gushing spring. The kindness that Boss Wang had shown was enough reason for the original Su Jingxing to pledge vengeance. But this had nothing to do with Su Jingxing. Wanrong was a martial artist. What could an ordinary person like Su Jingxing do to him? Helplessness was all he could feel. Yet, there wasn't anything he could do, so Su Jingxing chose to go with the flow. As a newcomer, he hadn't fully adapted to the situation yet. The original Su Jingxing was happy with being a corpse collector, but not current Su Jingxing. On Earth Star, the crematorium had very important functions, and its workers worked shifts all day and night to keep it operating. When Su Jingxing woke up, it was still dark outside. It was 3 in the morning, but he had to go to the morgue to move corpses. Just thinking about it made his hair stand on end. But he had no other choices. The crematorium had strict rules, and Su Jingxing had already rested in the dormitory for 2 days, giving the excuse that he had a headache. If he continued to not show up at work, he would definitely get fired. Getting fired now would mean ending up homeless. After debating about it at length, he braced himself for work. At the very least, the big-faced young man was there to keep him company. The big-faced young man was Kong Dabeo, Su Jingxing's roommate/partner. There were a total of 3 teams at the Western District Crematorium. Each team consisted of 6 members, and they worked in groups of 2. Su Jingxing and Kong Dabeo were in Group 2 of Team 1. Earth Star adopted pronatalist policies, and one could get married at the age of 18. As a result, every region had a large population. More people meant more conflicts, and correspondingly, more death. Gang fights, murder for profit, accidental death, illness. All these led to corpses being transported to the crematorium every day. Business was booming, and the crematorium remained brightly lit even at 3 in the morning. For the sake of convenience, the crematorium staff dormitory and canteen were less than 100 meters away from the working area. Luckily, the air was kept clean through special air purifying techniques. After a few minutes of walking, Su Jingxing and Kong Dabeo arrived at the working area. In the changing room, the 2 of them slipped into their work clothes before heading to relieve the previous group. After some additional preparation, they stepped into the morgue. Kong Dabeo led the way, and Su Jingxing tagged behind him. Mechanically, they approached a corpse. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? What? Su Jingxing paused. For some reason, a notification had popped up in his head. Could it be? What's the matter, little Su? Asked Kong Dabeo, confused by Su Jingxing's inaction. Oh, it's nothing. Putting aside the questions in his mind, Su Jingxing came back to his senses. Together with Kong Dabeo, they loaded a corpse into a bag. At the crematorium, if the corpse belonged to someone who had relatives, a farewell ceremony would be arranged before the cremation. Otherwise, they would go straight into the incinerator. A good example of the latter would be the corpse that lay in Su Jingxing and Kong Dabeo's cart, which no one had come forward to identify. These types of corpses were easier to deal with, they could just load them onto a cart and send them to the incinerator room. Nothing strange happened during the trip, though there was some exertion involved. After all, corpses were considerably heavy. By now, Su Jingxing had grown somewhat comfortable with the job. It wasn't as scary as he had imagined, and it provided enough for him to settle down temporarily. In fact, not only was he no longer afraid, he was starting to get interested. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? The notification that intruded Su Jingxing's mind stuck with him, all the way until the corpse was inside the incinerator room. What's going on? Having put everything together, Su Jingxing had a hunch. However, he needed to verify it. And the way to do that was easy, he just had to continue moving corpses. As he had expected. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Every time Su Jingxing got close to a corpse, the same notification popped up in his head. And once he got further away from the corpse, the notification faded away. This validated Su Jingxing's assumption, he shared the same trait as all other transmigrators. He too had some form of a cheat ability. And it was related to corpses. Would you like to extract it? What exactly was it referring to? Su Jingxing didn't know, but was nonetheless excited. However, knowing that Kong Dabeo was beside him, Su Jingxing suppressed his excitement and did not spill the beans. If something big were to happen during the extraction process, he would have a hard time talking his way out of it, not to mention the increased risk. With that in mind, Su Jingxing waited patiently. It was not until the sun had risen that Kong de Bao headed for the toilet, leaving Su Jingxing alone. Swiftly, he walked into the morgue and stopped before a random body. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Yes. 1 minute. 2 minutes. 3 minutes. What's going on? Su Jingxing frowned. 5 minutes had passed since he replied to the notification, yet nothing had happened. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? What happened to the things he supposedly extracted? Or was the notification earlier just an illusion? With flickering eyes, Su Jingxing made his way towards another corpse. He got a little closer. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Then sprang back and distanced himself from the corpse. The notification vanished. Again, he got a little closer. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? It wasn't an illusion. The notification was real. Yes, answered Su Jingxing as he reapproached the corpse. This time, he carefully observed his surroundings and watched out for any potential changes in his body. Still nothing. That was when he realized 2 cards were sitting in his pockets that were originally empty, as though they had popped out of thin air. Are these cards what I have extracted? Mused Su Jingxing as he took the cards out of his pocket and examined them. He had extracted 1 card from the first corpse. And another from the second, making it 2 cards in total. They looked the exact same, both had light purple as their background color and were roughly the size of a poker card. A chaotic pattern was printed on the back of the card, and a full-body diagram on its front. Essence Energy Card. The words popped up in his mind. Almost immediately following that, a detailed description of the Essence Energy Card formed in his mind. Essence Energy Card gives Essence Energy Pills. Essence Energy Pill, a type of pill that could cleanse one's fatigue, rejuvenate one's energy, and boost one's virility. Su Jingxing had heard his team leader mentioning such pills before. They were originally developed for the use of scientific researchers so that they could strengthen their essence and spirit. However, after they circulated outside, they completely took over the sildenafil market. This was only to be expected since sildenafil was harmful when taken regularly while essence energy pills had no side effects. The thing he extracted turned out to be the improved version of sildenafil. For a moment, Su Jingxing was at a loss of words. Hold on. If essence energy cards give essence energy pills, what about other cards? Su Jingxing recalled the notification that accompanied the appearance of the essence energy cards. It did not state anywhere that essence energy cards were the only things he could extract. Kong de Bao had yet to return, so with these thoughts in mind, Su Jingxing walked up to a few other corpses. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Yes. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Yes. Walking briskly through the morgue, he extracted every corpse he came across. As he walked, he took out the cards that materialized inside his pocket and inspected them one by one. Essence Energy Card, Essence Energy Card, Essence Energy Card. Most of them were Essence Energy cards, but there were some others as well. Strength Enhancement Card. Strength Enhancement Card gives strength pills. Strength Pill, a type of pill that can increase one's strength. Each pill can increase one's strength by 10 caddies. Jackpot. Suppressing his excitement, Su Jingxing stored the cards away. Together with Kong de Bao, who came back from the toilet, they continued moving corpses. As expected, the cheating ability did not disappoint him. Even though he couldn't eat all the essence energy pills from essence energy cards by himself, he could sell them for money. For instance, Gu Bo, the leader of Corpse Collection Team 1, was among those who had bought it before. One essence energy pill could fetch over 300 great U dollars. Strength Enhancement Card was even better, each pill from it could increase one's strength by 10 caddies. Likewise, they did not have any side effects. Both cards were definitely good stuff. As to whether there was a third type of card, Su Jingxing was optimistic. Something in his subconscious told him it had to exist. On top of that, the key to extracting cards was to get close enough to a corpse, which was perfect for Su Jingxing's current job. Now, Su Jingxing wouldn't leave even if someone paid him to leave. The crematorium was great. In fact, this place was simply amazing. There were not many opportunities to come into contact with corpses outside. But over here, corpses would be delivered to his doorstep every day. Su Jingxing made up his mind, before he was strong enough to protect himself, he wouldn't leave the crematorium no matter what. Why do you look so happy? Did they put 1,000-year-old ginseng in your food? Why do you look so happy? Did they put 1,000-year-old ginseng in your food? Asked Kong DeBao puzzledly, looking at Su Jingxing's plate that had the exact same content as his. It was afternoon, and they were in the hall of the canteen. Cough, Su Jingxing drew a deep breath to suppress his excitement and grinned. Nothing, I just thought of something happy. What is it? Share the good news with me, pressed Kong DeBao as he munched on his food. Well. Hey. There you are, a cheery voice broke in. Kong DeBao took a glance at the Comer. What do you want, sleazebag? Don't say that, Brother Bao. Can't I look for you for no reason, said the Comer, shrugging innocently. Brother Bao, you have to believe me. That's enough. Kong DeBao raised his hand to forestall him, and raised his eyebrows. If there's no reason, you can get out of our sight now. Don't you realize you are interrupting our meal? Brother Jian, tell me about your problem. I'll definitely lend a helping hand if it's within my capabilities, offered Su Jingxing as he regarded the embarrassed man with a smile. This man's name was Feng Taijian, and he was also a member of Team 1. Kong DeBao and Feng Taijian were both veterans on the corpse collecting team and had worked in the crematorium for more than 3 years. They knew each other very well, and it wasn't rare to see them bickering. Feng Taijian coughed. That's why little Su is the best. You should work on your bad habit of being impatient, DeBao, riposted Feng Taijian. Before Kong DeBao could make a comeback, he quickly went on. The thing is, I have an errand to run in the afternoon, and I can only make it back by around 9 in the evening. Can you cover my shift, little Su? Sure, Su Jingxing replied offhandedly. Deep down, his heart was full of joy. He would love to help. He couldn't wait to move more corpses. If he got tired, he could always pop an essence energy pill and be as fresh as a daisy again. Thank you so much, said Feng Taijian gratefully, not privy to Su Jingxing's thoughts. You have my gratitude, my good brother. Let's find a day to visit the city. I'll treat you to a feast at the Golden Jade Pavilion. I appreciate the offer, Brother Jian, but you don't have to splurge on me. There's nothing for me to do back in the dormitory anyway, said Su Jingxing, smiling. Golden Jade Pavilion was one of the finest restaurants in Qinghe City, and one meal there could easily cost over 4,000 great dollars. I insist. It's only natural for me to pay you back for your help. I'm a man of principles, said Feng Taijian, grinning from ear to ear. He shot a perfunctory glance at Kong DeBao. Unlike some people who only know how to take and never show any gratitude. Thud. Kong DeBao glared at Feng Taijian and slammed his chopsticks on the table. You want to get roughed up, sleazebag? Hey, what got you so riled up? Was it something I did? Asked Feng Taijian, feigning ignorance. He gave Su Jingxing a quick wave before Kong DeBao could blow up. Alright then, little Su. I'll be off. With that, he scurried towards the canteen exit. What a douchebag, cursed Kong DeBao as he watched Feng Taijian's back, then shifted his gaze towards Su Jingxing. Little Su, you don't have to accommodate him. This guy has always been like this. It wasn't this bad in the past, but nowadays he's looking for every opportunity to slack off and fool around. Don't be afraid to turn him down if you don't want to cover his shift. I'll deal with that sleazebag if he dares give you trouble. It's fine, said Su Jingxing, smiling. I meant what I said earlier, I really don't mind covering his shift. But thank you for the concern, Big Brother de Bao. Bah, there's nothing to thank me for, said Kong de Bao, waving his hand dismissively. Seeing that Su Jingxing was fine with it, he stopped trying to persuade him. After all, covering a shift wasn't much of a big deal. After lunch, they took a short break. Then, the two of them continued working together to move corpses. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Yes. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Yes. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Without any disturbance, Su Jingxing spent the following of his days hopping between the dormitory building, the working area, and the canteen. In order to increase the opportunities of coming into contact with corpses, he covered other members' shifts from time to time. In just a few days, Su Jingxing had earned the nickname of Helpful Little Su. Some people mocked him behind his back, but Su Jingxing couldn't care less. Only a real fool would reveal such a profitable ability. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Yes. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Yes. As time passed, his inventory of essence energy cards and strength enhancement cards increased. The number of pills a card gave varied, ranging anywhere from 1 to 5. Su Jingxing only consumed a few essence energy pills, but gobbled down every last one of the strength pills he acquired. Every strength pill gave 10 extra caddies of strength. Furthermore, strength pills also had the effect of tempering one's body. As a result, in just a few days, Su Jingxing not only got stronger, but also became more muscular. He even grew from 1.7 meters to 1.8 meters. But this wasn't too abnormal, since he was around 15, the age where growth spurts happen. Thus, Su Jingxing's physical changes did not attract much attention. Even Kong de Bao didn't get suspicious and only teased Su Jingxing, claiming that he would soon become the taller one out of them. Su Jingxing, who had secretly been building up his strength, simply smiled at those words. He had been taking strength pills for some time now. Sure enough, he was growing taller, but that wasn't the most important thing. There was something he was unsure about, his overall physical strength. He needed answers. Seizing an opportunity where nobody was around, Su Jingxing entered the dormitory and went into one of the empty rooms in the hall on the first floor. He stopped before a device. This was a strength measuring device, designed to measure one's physical strength. Su Jingxing had always wanted to try it, but there were always people around. Now that he was alone, he clenched his fist and punched at the contact part with all his strength. Bam! Swish! 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 With a dull thud, the numbers on the dial of the device began rising rapidly. When it stopped, the number 818 appeared on the display. Su Jingxing took a glance, then threw a punch with his other hand. Bam! Swish! 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 The numbers on the dial flickered rapidly, ultimately stopping at 936. Nice! 936 caddies on the left, and 818 on the right. If I continue taking strength pills, I'll be on the same level as a 9th grade martial artist soon. Su Jingxing drew a deep breath to contain his excitement. On Earth Star, martial artists were divided into 9 grades based on their abilities. 9th grade was the weakest, and 1st grade the strongest. One of the defining features of a 9th grade martial artist was having over 1,000 caddies of strength on each arm. This wasn't hard to achieve for Su Jingxing, all he had to do was take more pills. However, there was no way for him to become a true 9th grade martial artist. To become a 9th grade martial artist, the foundation that truly mattered was one's internal force, rather than having over 1,000 caddies of strength. Internal force was a powerful force that had to be specially cultivated through internal exercises. On Earth Star, every citizen was required to learn martial arts. However, ordinary people did not have the chance to come into contact with real martial arts. For instance, in the U-Nation, ordinary people only had access to one set of basic martial arts, the 36 forms of body forging. Even though, the 36 forms of body forging was referred to as martial arts, it was actually closer to a form of exercise. If ordinary people wanted to cultivate internal force, they had to take other paths. The first was to get into various martial arts schools by examination, the second was to join sects, and the third was to train at a dojo. Out of these three paths, entering a martial arts school was the fairest, since talent decided everything. Talent not only referred to one's aptitude for martial arts, but also one's ability in studying. The logic behind it was simple: without a certain level of comprehension skills, one could not even understand certain profound martial arts, let alone cultivate them. The first path was out of the question, since Su Jingxing wasn't gifted and had already dropped out of school. Similarly, he did not have any illusions about joining a sect. That was because sects were even more strict when it came to recruiting disciples. They only accepted elites with an outstanding aptitude for martial arts. Therefore, the last of the three paths was the only viable option for Su Jingxing. The dojo. As long as one can afford it, one can learn martial arts from the various dojos in Qinghe City. By the time he acquires internal force and increases his strength to 10,000 or even 100,000 caddies, getting revenge on Wan Rong would no longer be a pipe dream. Thanks to the obsession of the original Su Jingxing, revenge was never far from Su Jingxing's mind, not even in his dreams. He had to get rid of this annoyance as soon as possible. For that, he had to continue moving corpses. Getting close to corpses meant getting more essence energy pills and strength pills, which translates to more money and strength. What a great spot to be in. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Yes. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Yes. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Yes. Extract. 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 Essence Energy Card. Strength Enhancement Card. Essence Energy Card. Strength Enhancement Card. The days flew by. Patiently, Su Jingxing accumulated more and more essence energy pills. The strength in both his arms had exceeded 1,000 caddies, and was creeping towards 2,000. However, no new cards came into his possession. Just when Su Jingxing thought that there were only two types of cards, a new card emerged. Internal Force Card. Based on the card's description, the Internal Force card he had contained 2 years of cultivation. To put it simply, once Su Jingxing uses it, he would immediately gain the same amount of internal force that would have taken a regular martial artist 2 years to cultivate. To use it, he just had to stick it in between his eyebrows. What a pleasant surprise. Originally, the plan was to resign to fate and continue selling essence energy pills until he had enough money to enroll in a dojo. This development was beyond his expectations. His cheat ability had provided him with 2 years of internal force cultivation, turning Su Jingxing into a real 9th-grade martial artist overnight. Ha ha ha. Swelling with uncontainable excitement, Su Jingxing laughed out loud. He had specially come to the back mountains of the crematorium to use the internal force card. A warm energy coursed through his body upon activating the card. How great it was to immediately acquire internal force. Even though cultivating martial arts could make one stronger, its process was tedious. On the other hand, Su Jingxing acquired internal forces without having to cultivate. If other martial artists knew about this, they would be green with envy. He figured it would be best for him to keep a low profile. Cough. Cough. He coughed a few times to calm himself down. Previously, all I could extract was essence energy cards and strength enhancement cards. How did I end up getting an internal force card this time? Wondered Su Jingxing. Everything happens for a reason. If he managed to figure out the reason, he might be able to extract even more new cards. The thought spurred him into action. Returning to the crematorium, Su Jingxing got his hands on the corpse records. The crematorium had strict rules. The information of every corpse that was sent to the crematorium had to go into the records, whether or not anyone came forward to identify them. After getting hold of the corpse records, Su Jingxing went through the entries one by one. It wasn't long before he got his answer. A martial artist. The corpse from which he extracted the internal force card belonged to a 9th-grade martial artist. All of the other corpses he had encountered so far belonged to ordinary people. The deciding factor was that the corpse belonged to a martial artist. That makes sense since internal force only forms in the body of martial artists. If I'm right, my cheat ability allows me to somehow extract a person's past possessions from their corpses. Hey, wait a minute. Su Jingxing's eyes lit up. If I can extract the internal force of a martial artist from their corpse, can I also extract the secret martial arts manuals they practiced? This was highly probable. Everyone has essence energy and strength. What martial artists had and ordinary people didn't was internal force and martial arts. If he could extract a corpse's internal force, then he should be able to do the same with martial arts. Su Jingxing's breathing intensified at the thought. If he could obtain a couple of secret martial arts manuals directly through the corpses, it would save him a lot of trouble. It's time to get those corpses moved. However, he would have to shift his focus to corpses of martial artists, since they held the most value. Oh, how good it was to be a martial artist, to be highly sought after in life and in death. The plan was great. But things didn't work out the way Su Jingxing wanted them to. For the next week, he toiled away at moving corpses without skipping a single day. The corpses yielded mostly essence energy cards and strength enhancement cards. Essence energy pills and vigor pills were daily loots for Su Jingxing. However, the secret martial arts manual he hungered for remained elusive. That's right, it eluded him, despite the fact that there had been corpses of martial artists. For the past week, Su Jingxing had been keeping an eye out for martial artist corpses. Whenever one of these was sent to the crematorium, he would search for an opportunity to get close and extract a card from it. Unfortunately, among 3 martial artist corpses, the first 2 only gave strength enhancement cards, yielding a total of 7 strength pills. Finally, when he was at the 3rd corpse, he extracted an internal force card. To make matters worse, the internal force card only contained 3 months' worth of internal force cultivation. This paled in comparison to the first internal force card he got, which had contained a whole 2 years. There was also no trace of any secret martial arts manual. Su Jingxing mulled over this. He had learned something from these 3 corpses. Not every martial artist corpse gave internal force cards. Only one fact was certain: internal force cards only came from martial artist corpses, but not all martial artist corpses gave internal force cards. If internal force cards are already this rare, then isn't it normal for secret martial arts manuals to be even rarer? After arriving at this conclusion, Su Jingxing slowly curbed his impatience. And so, he continued toiling away at the crematorium as he did before. This went on until one afternoon, as he was relieving the morning shift, he heard someone talking sympathetically about the death of an 8th-grade martial artist. Almost acting on instinct, Su Jingxing made his way to the hall where farewell ceremonies were held. When he got close enough to the 8th-grade martial artist's corpse, he managed to extract a new card. A skill card. Walking out of the farewell ceremony hall, he went to a corner and took out the card to examine it. When he saw the description of the card, he almost fainted from excitement. 7 Steps Fist. It was a secret martial arts manual. The skill card contained a secret martial arts manual. He finally got one. Such was the way serendipity worked. 7 steps fist, a fist technique that was supplemented by footwork. It wasn't an advanced technique, but still decently strong once mastered. The name of the technique was representative of its main feature. 7 steps. Every level was separated by a step, and each level differed greatly in terms of difficulty. At the highest level, all enemies would drop dead by the time the practitioner takes 7 steps. In a way, the power of this fist technique could increase endlessly. Taking Su Jingxing as an example, the strength of each of his arms currently exceeds 2,000 caddies. If he could cultivate the 7 steps fist to the highest level, he would be able to unleash 14,000 caddies of strength by the time he takes 7 steps. That amount of power was enough to wound or even kill a 7th grade martial artist, let alone a 9th grade one. To become a 9th grade martial artist, one needed to generate internal force and have arms that both exceeded 1,000 caddies of strength. To become an 8th grade martial artist, one needed to exude internal forces and have arms that both exceeded 3,000 caddies of strength. To become a 7th grade martial artist, one needed to be able to converge their internal force to one spot and open up their dantian. Both of their arms should exceed 10,000 caddies of strength. If a 7th grade martial artist was caught off guard and struck by 14,000 caddies of mighty strength, they would be left crippled even if they managed to survive. From this, one could see the power of the 7 steps fist. Su Jingxing had to take a few deep breaths to contain his excitement, before he stuck the card in between his eyebrows. As soon as he unlocked the card, every bit of information regarding the 7 steps fist was engraved into his mind. There was no need to worry about getting it wrong or failing to comprehend it. The particularity of skill cards was that they allowed Su Jingxing to immediately know how to cultivate the technique and make breakthroughs as soon as he absorbed the card's information. However, he couldn't master the fist technique instantaneously like how he acquired internal force. Still, it saved him a lot of trouble by letting him learn the ropes immediately. It was like that adage, the master leads his disciples onto the right path, but how far one can go depends on themselves. The skill card taught Su Jingxing how to practice the technique, but the level of mastery he could achieve in the future depended on his own actions. Would he give up halfway because the training was too tedious and tiring? Or would he remain focused on his goals and persevere to the end? Su Jingxing, who had hungered for secret martial arts manuals for the longest time, obviously chose the second option. He still had a score to settle with Wan Rong, his mortal enemy. But before that, he should find out more about the practitioner of the 7 steps fist. In Qinghe City, an 8th grade martial artist could be considered to be quite capable. It would indeed be a pity if such a person had died from an accident. Of course. The reason why Su Jingxing wanted to find out his identity was to learn more about the origin of the 7 steps fist. On Earth Star, most secret martial art manuals had a traceable origin. Due to various reasons, secret martial arts manuals were controlled by a few people. These people strictly guarded the secret martial arts manuals. If they discovered that someone had secretly practiced them, they would either rob them of their cultivation or cripple them, and in worse cases, silence them. Therefore, it was very important to learn the origins of the 7 steps fist. Su Jingxing returned to the farewell ceremony hall. Using his identity as a crematorium staff member, Su Jingxing checked the deceased's identity. Wei Zhongting. That was the name of this 8th grade martial artist. After leafing through the information, he left quietly. Deep down, Su Jingxing heaved a sigh of relief. Wei Zhongting, who had just turned 40 this year, owned a martial arts dojo. 7 steps fist was his heirloom technique. More than 10 years ago, the Wei family's dojo once had its time in the sun. The reason was that Wei Zhongting's late father was a 6th grade martial artist, and was considered a powerful figure in the western region of Qinghe City who enjoyed great fame. He had cultivated the 7 steps fist to the highest level and was unrivaled in the Qinghe City. Unfortunately, he died from an illness. His death put an end to the Wei family's prestige. Wei Zhongting, who had inherited the dojo, was only average in terms of aptitude for martial arts. He had expended a lot of energy and financial resources to barely break through to the 8th grade. Having cultivated his family's ultimate heirloom technique, the 7 steps fist, to the advanced level, but not the highest, he barely managed to preserve the Wei family's dojo. As for the cause of his death, it was because he was too eager for progress and suffered from a chi deviation. Su Jingxing learned some new information from the conversations of farewell ceremony attendees. The Wei family's dojo had been in a precarious position. The Wei family's assets were being both openly and secretly coveted. This caused Wei Zhongting to panic and make a mistake during cultivation, ultimately dying from qi deviation. Now that Wei Zhongting was gone, the Wei family was on thinner ice. Of course. These had nothing to do with Su Jingxing. Had he been a 6th-grade martial artist, he wouldn't mind secretly lending a helping hand as a token of gratitude for the 7 steps fist. Unfortunately, he wasn't even an 8th-grade martial artist. There weren't any problems with the origin of 7 steps fist. Many people had practiced it at the Wei family's dojo. Practicing it shouldn't give Su Jingxing any future trouble. At night, past work hours, Su Jingxing made up an excuse so that he could go out, then headed straight to the back mountain of the crematorium. He stuffed an essence energy pill into his mouth to get rid of his fatigue and slowly started practicing the 7 steps fist. Tap. 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 Gripping the ground with his feet, he stepped forward, backward, left, then right. His body followed his mind, and his mind obeyed his will. As he clenched his fist, he shifted his steps and punched forward repeatedly. Whoosh! 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 A series of fist winds were produced, slow at first but getting faster. They followed Su Jingxing's movements, whirling, sweeping up sand, and sometimes petering out into wisps of internal force and dissipating into the air. The philosophy of 7 steps fist dictated that footwork and fist techniques were of equal importance. When used in conjunction, they complemented each other to maximize the power of the technique. The technique, designed to help one dodge and move about quickly, required one to take a step at a time. If one were to go completely on the offensive and take multiple steps consecutively, the difficulty would keep on increasing due to the additional footwork required. After familiarizing himself with every move of the fist technique, Su Jingxing tried to launch an attack. Unidirectionally, he moved forward on continuous footwork and punched. In the end, plop! As though he had walked into a thick trunk, he lost his balance and fell to the ground. The attempt failed. If he wanted to take 2 steps at once, he might have to attempt the breakthrough a gazillion times. When encountering such barriers during technique cultivation, one could only rely on themselves to make the breakthrough. One had to try repeatedly, even if it meant having their internal force and power twisted into one. Forceful attempts at breaking through would not only harm the body, but also the mind. Of course, Su Jingxing wouldn't want that. If 1 time didn't work, he would try 2 times. If 2 times didn't work, then he would try 3 times. Time passed by as Su Jingxing continued his attempts. So engrossed he was in practicing martial arts that he forgot to return to the dormitory. He only realized the night was over when morning light emerged. It's dawn already. Su Jingxing stopped practicing and swiped at the sweat on his face. Even after a whole night of labor and martial arts practice, he was not tired in the least. Needless to say, the essence energy pills had been very effective. Big Brother Debao will surely tease me for not being back all night. As Su Jingxing walked down the mountain, he thought about moving out of the dormitory. He was sitting on over 200 essence energy pills, which was enough to fetch a handsome sum on the black market. The way things stood, living in the dormitory was starting to prove inconvenient. He made up his mind, he would visit the black market that night to sell his wares. Su Jingxing mulled over the thought until he reached the dormitory. To his surprise, Kong Debao was out at this time in the morning. Without dwelling on the thought, Su Jingxing picked up a towel and a basin before making his way to the public bath, where he took a shower. After returning to his room, he slipped into a fresh set of clothes and headed for the canteen. He was famished after a night of martial arts practice. Su Jingxing had 3 servings of breakfast before getting up and leaving the canteen. It was his day off, but by force of habit, Su Jingxing headed for the working area to see if he could cover anyone's shift. In a sense, he was the most dedicated worker among the dozens of workers in the crematorium. "Hey, little Su, do you happen to be free later?" Someone called out to him as soon as he stepped into the working area. He turned to find team leader Gu Bo waving at him from a short distance away. "Absolutely. I'm always free," answered Su Jingxing, walking up to Gu Bo in brisk steps. "Is there a shift that needs covering, team leader Gu?" "Heh, you addicted to covering shifts or something, kiddo?" Gu Bo was a man of large build in his primes. He was 35 years old but could easily pass for 27. His square face was well-defined and bore a resolute expression. He wasn't exactly handsome, but he had a manly aura and was right up the alley for certain older women. "Nah, I'm just bored," said Su Jingxing, laughing drily. Not like he could tell him about the benefits he could reap from getting close to corpses. "You are a funny guy," said Gu Bo, breaking out into a laugh. He then motioned at Su Jingxing. "Come, we'll talk as we walk." He started walking ahead. Su Jingxing followed. "Little Su, you might think I'm talking too much, but let me tell you this, right now, you are at the perfect age for learning. It doesn't matter what you learn, there's no harm in picking up a thing or two," said Gu Bo as he walked. "Unlike me. It's too late for me to learn anything. Now that I'm old, my brain is all rusty, and manual labor is all I could do to make a living. If you don't learn new things, you could even end up like Feng Taijian. He really lives up to his nickname of sleazebag. There's no hope for him now. When he just came here, he still had the sense to save his money. Nowadays, all he thinks about is fooling around with women. It's okay if he ends up marrying one of them, but he's never content with just one woman. You must not end up like him, little Su." He never stopped rambling along the way. Su Jingxing wasn't in a position to refute, so he only nodded or uttered an affirmation every now and then. After a few months of interaction with the other team members, he was already familiar with their personalities. Team leader Gu Bo was a forthright man, but also a chatterbox. Once he found a topic, he could keep the conversation going all by himself. After his transmigration, Su Jingxing had pretty much learned everything about the original Su Jingxing from Gu Bo. In time, Su Jingxing got used to it. This time, Gu Bo did not ask him to step in for anyone. Instead, he was asked to assist Gu Bo with retrieving some bodies from Forestry Town, a town that was a dozen of leagues west to Qinghe City. It was a field mission. Most of the bodies that arrived at the crematorium had been delivered there, but some of them had to be retrieved by Su Jingxing and the other members of the corpse collection teams. Su Jingxing had already been on such field missions several times. However, all the previous trips had been within the city. The location this time was not only outside the city, but all the way over at Forestry Town. This was the first time Su Jingxing had left the city after his transmigration. Forestry Town, as its name suggested, was a town that managed a forestry station. In the U Nation, the smallest administrative division unit was town and not village. These towns did not function purely as residential areas. Instead, they each specialized in an area that provided necessary products for the cities. They were functional towns. Forestry Town, for instance, was responsible for providing timber, rare mountain-exclusive cooking ingredients, herbs, and other things for Qinghe City. There were also farm towns, fishing towns, mining towns. Every day, there would be trucks going back and forth between these towns and Qinghe City. A corpse transportation truck had been arranged for Su Jingxing and Gu Bo on their way there. Gu Bo drove while Su Jingxing took the ride. The two of them chatted as the truck moved steadily across a dozen leagues of mountain road. Soon, they arrived at Forestry Town. After entering the town, they got in contact with the person who called them, a manager named Zhou Hongsong. Zhou Hongsong guided the two of them to an empty cabin where the corpses were stored. "Thank you for the help, team leader Gu. The corpses are all here," said Zhou Hongsong with a sad look on his face. He pointed at the 10 corpses lying in a row on the ground inside. "Please do what you have to. I'll call for the relatives of the deceased." "All right," replied Gu Bo. "I'll be right back," said Zhou Hongsong. He nodded at Su Jingxing, before turning away to carry out his task. When he was far away, Su Jingxing carefully inspected the 10 corpses on the ground inside. What a tragic way to go. They didn't even get to die in one piece. As compared to them, our lives as corpse collectors almost seem too good to be true. The 10 corpses belonged to members of the Forestry Town Mountain Patrol team. They had left for the mountains the day before yesterday, and hadn't returned since. Earlier that morning, Forestry Town had sent out a search team, who found what remained of their corpses. After piecing the remnants together, the death of all 10 people was confirmed, and blamed on fierce beasts residing in the mountains. "Tragic indeed," said Gu Bo with a hint of suspicion in his voice. Sensing that Gu Bo had more to say, Su Jingxing looked up at him quizzically. "Is something the matter, team leader Gu?" "Well, I don't think this was the work of beasts." "It wasn't the beasts?" asked Su Jingxing, stunned. A memory stirred within him. "Team leader Gu, are you saying that the barbarians were behind this? Humans were not the sole ruler on Earth Star. A powerful race existed alongside humanity. Barbarians. Unlike humans, barbarians were bloodthirsty savages. They were brawny, large beings that were at least 3 meters tall. Their skin and flesh were tough as leather, and their strength exceeded 1,000 caddies. That means, once barbarians reached adulthood, they would be equivalent to a 9th-grade martial artist. Due to their powerful strength and bloodthirsty nature, barbarians never stopped attacking humanity. For thousands of years, the war between humans and barbarians never ceased. Before the modern era, humans suffered more defeats than victories. In recent times, with the advancement of firearms, humans gradually gained the upper hand and chased the barbarians into the boundless mountain range. To keep the barbarians away, the nations erected sturdy walls and gates along the edges of the mountains. Therefore, barbarians showing up in the forest of Forestry Town would be a major, and frightening, happening. Whether it was the impact or the aftermath, it was not something a small team leader like Gu Bo could handle. Gu Bo wasn't stupid, and he knew the gravity of the matter. As soon as Su Jingxing finished his words, he immediately denied it. "No, it's not the barbarians." "Glad to hear that," said Su Jingxing, heaving a sigh of relief. "If neither beasts nor barbarians did this, is there a chance that a powerful martial artist had killed them?" "Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it?" "Yes." "Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it?" "Yes." Su Jingxing extracted a card from every corpse, making it 10 in total. "It's possible," said Gu Bo pensively. He thought for a moment and continued. "Little Su, go and get the head of the forestry station and the security team leader. I must speak with them." "Got it," replied Su Jingxing. Without asking any questions, he turned around, walked out of the cabin, and went on his way. Despite it being his first time here, he managed to locate the 2 prominent figures in the town after some asking around. To his surprise, the leader of the security team, who was also the second most important figure in the forestry station, was actually cultivating in seclusion. No one dared to disturb him, despite the gravity of the issue. For goodness sake, the entire patrol team had been killed. There were guards stationed outside the secluded cultivation room, and Su Jingxing wasn't allowed to go in, so he decided that giving up was the best option. He turned around to look for the head of the forestry station. However, when he found him, he was met with apathy. "Aya, all you have to do is take the bodies away." "What's there to talk about?" said the head of the forestry station. His belly protruded, and his face shone with grease. "Go back and tell your team leader to look for Zhou Hongsong if he wants to talk. I'm too busy to entertain you. Run along now, child." "Are you sure that's okay, Head Wang?" asked Su Jingxing. He then continued in a matter-of-fact, but polite tone. "Team leader Gu thinks that the members of the mountain patrol team had been killed by people, not ferocious beasts. If his speculation proves true and the murderer gets caught after a thorough investigation, wouldn't it reflect badly on you?" Head Wang's expression changed. From the corner of his eye, he glanced at a few others around him and squeezed out a smile. "Oh silly me. I had been so occupied with work I couldn't think straight. Yes, you're absolutely right. This matter requires cautious handling. I will get to the bottom of this and mete out justice, for the sake of the victims." With an effort, he propped himself up against the table and rose from the sofa. With his big belly sticking out, he gestured at his lackeys. "The few of you, come with me. We must find out the truth." "Yes, boss," answered the few office staff in unison. Su Jingxing smiled surreptitiously at the sight. Without another word, he turned around to lead the way. They left the administration building and headed straight for the cabin that stored the corpses. They traveled slowly, mainly because the forestry station head was too fat. There was no point for Su Jingxing to walk fast alone. Slowly, they crossed 2 streets. As they were about to reach their destination, they heard a commotion. Su Jingxing faintly heard team leader Gu's voice. Subconsciously, he picked up his pace. After taking a few quick steps forward, he saw that the once empty cabin was now surrounded by people. The sound of Gu Bo arguing with someone emanated from the cabin. Su Jingxing sped up as he listened in. "Excuse me, please make way. I'm from the corpse collection team. Please make way." Su Jingxing jostled through the crowd. When he was at the cabin door, he saw the identity of the person that was arguing with Gu Bo. It was Zhou Hongsong. With a furious look on his face, the manager who received them earlier was coming down harshly on team leader Gu. "Team leader Gu, you're the leader of the crematorium's corpse collection team, not the leader of our security team. We've already carried out the autopsy, and we don't need you to do it again. Please fulfill your own duties and don't poke your nose into matters that don't concern you." "I'm doing this precisely because I want to fulfill my duties." Livid, Gu Bo continued in a deep voice. "You're right. I'm only the leader of the crematorium's corpse collection team, not the security team. But because of that, I've seen more corpses than the leader of the security team." "And you are proud of it," said Zhou Hongsong mockingly. "No, my point is, I've been in this line for more than 10 years and have seen all kinds of corpses. I may not always be right, but I can tell what caused the wounds on a corpse 9 out of 10 times." Gu Bo paused and pointed at the 10 corpses on the ground. "Take a look at their corpses, for instance. These wounds were clearly not caused by beasts. What caused it then?" Head Wang's voice emerged from the crowd of spectators. "Make way, don't crowd at the door." A path opened up as the office staff members cleared out the crowd. Clomping towards the door, Head Wang took a quick glance at the corpses on the ground and swiftly retracted his gaze. Then, he looked at Gu Bo and said sternly, "Go on. What caused these wounds?" "Team leader Gu, this is the head of the forestry station." Su Jingxing offered a well-timed introduction. "The leader of the security team couldn't come because he's cultivating in seclusion." "Cultivating in seclusion?" Gu Bo's face flushed with anger. How could he be practicing in seclusion at a time like this? Su Jingxing was taken aback. Gu Bo's reaction clearly wasn't normal. Even the spectators could tell as much. Gu Bo's reaction was somewhat over the top, despite the matter at hand being the complete annihilation of the mountain patrol team. Cut the crap, snapped Head Wang with an impatient wave. Forget about other people. I'm the head of the forestry station. You can report your findings to me, and if there is a problem, I promise to investigate till the end. I agree with you, Head Wang, but I dare say this fellow is deliberately stirring up trouble, said Zhou Hongsong with a livid look on his face.